From Daily Trust News Center, this is the News Hour.
On Trust News Hour tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari receives UN Secretary General at State House. Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi declares presidential ambition. Uniben students protest over ASUU strike. On the foreign scene, European Union calls for Russian oil ban as Moscow strikes western Ukraine. Hello and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Ayinde Shuaga. Now the news in full. President Muhammadu Buhari on Wednesday received the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres at the State House in Abuja. He was received by top government officials. Earlier in the day, he visited the UN House in Abuja alongside some top officials and diplomats of the agency. Guterres is on a two-day official visit to Nigeria, the first of such. The UN chief had arrived in Abuja, in Nigeria on Tuesday and also visited Borno State, where he proposed the reintegration of repentant terrorists. This, he said, is key to the restoration of peace in the northeast region. The UN scribe also performed the wreath-laying ceremony in honor of the August 26, 2011 suicide bomb attack victims.
Excellency Antonio Guterres, the United Nations Secretary General, on his maiden visit to Nigeria. The importance of this visit cannot be lost on anyone in this country, indeed on the entire African continent. Coming at a time when the entire global attention is focused on the unfortunate situation in Ukraine, we in this region are feeling already that the world is forgetting about us. There can be no better assurance that the world is with us as we confront extremist terrorist organizations, hunger, and the enormous problems of dealing with millions of displaced people than this important visit. This visit is not therefore just a visit, but a meeting of minds and aspirations on what must be done to assist our country and the troubled sub-region.
Yesterday, I had the opportunity to visit Borno State. And I must confess, I arrived in Borno with the impression caused by so many years in which I was hearing stories about how dramatic the situation was, how terrible the suffering of the people, how impossible to control the terrorist activities, a sense of despair. But the Borno I met yesterday was the Borno of hope. And I saw an enlightened policy aiming not only at defeating militarily the terrorists, but at addressing the root causes of terrorism. I saw the governor committed to reestablish the confidence between the people and the government, committed to provide the people in their different villages around the state the capacity to protect themselves, committed to create conditions for the return of the displaced, but also for the reintegration of those that have abandoned Boko Haram, that have finally discovered that terrorism is a crime against humanity and a crime against God's will, and that now needs support to reintegrate in the society. And that support I could witness in the visits I made.
Governor Umara Zulum has declared his intention to run for second term as governor of Borno State. The governor made this known when the leadership of the 150 Borno clubs handed over a check of 50 million naira for the purchase of nomination and expression of interest forms to him. The report.
Early hours of Wednesday morning, hundreds of coalition members comprising clubs, groups, professional bodies in academia, health sector, marketers, transport unions and women groups marched to the Borno State Government House chanting campaign songs. These Maiduguri residents want Governor Zulum to seek for a second term in office ahead of the 2023 gubernatorial election. They say the giant strides and unprecedented achievements in the state are the reasons behind their call on the governor to seek re-election.
For him
again, we like his leadership and all the good works he has done in the state. We want him to continue in office.
We want to peace in Maiduguri, but now we have a peace. Then the continuity is help us to help us the peace in Maiduguri. So now we have already seen on the ground what is the governor do for us.
Governor Umara Zulum, who received the supporters, accepted the check of 50 million naira from the leadership of the Coalition for Zulum Good Governance Continuity Group. He said he is willing to contest for another term as governor of Borno State. I'm honestly happy with all of you for contributing 1,000 naira each for the form. With what you have donated, I have directed the money to be handed over to the APC party chairman for necessary action. Remember, when I came into power, I promised peace. Now, are you not enjoying peace? You can go anywhere without fear. This insecurity will soon be a thing of the past, and farmers can go back to their farmlands. There are unverified rumors that Governor Zulum delayed to declare his intention for re-election because he might be Vice President Osinbajo's running mate.
A chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and former senator representing Cross River Central, Senator John Owan Eno, has called for support for the party from all Nigerians in the forthcoming 2023 general elections. Senator Eno, who was interacting with journalists at the NUJ Press Center in Abuja as part of the World Press Freedom Day, commended journalists for contributing to national development through effective reportage. The former senator said it was imperative for the party to consolidate on the gains of the Buhari administration by ensuring victory in 2023 and advised Nigerians to support the party both at the national and states for sustained national development. Senator Owan, who is an aspirant for governor in Cross River State under the APC, pledged to turn around the fortunes of the state through transparency, employment generation, security of lives and property, as well as international partnerships with donor agencies. The governor of Cross River State, Professor Ben Ayade, has directed its appointees seeking elective offices to quit with effect from Thursday, May 5, as is set to reshuffle his cabinet. He gave the order on Wednesday in a statement by his Special Advisor, Media and Publicity, Christian Ita. According to the statement, the governor directed that any political appointee currently serving in his government but desires to seek an elective position in the forthcoming 2023 elections is at liberty to resign. In the meantime, the governor who was set to reshuffle his cabinet, his Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Christian Ita, disclosed this in a statement. former Edo State Governor Adams Oshiomhole has declared his intention to run for the seat of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Speaking during the press conference on Wednesday in Abuja, Adams Oshiomhole said he will appropriately tax the rich to provide amenities for the poor. Oshiomhole, who is also a former APC national chairman, said if elected as president, he will insist that textile and automobile companies who want the continued patronage of Nigerians must relocate their factories to Nigeria to give jobs to the teeming youths of the country. While the APC is jostling for the right candidate to succeed President Muhammadu Buhari, many aspirants have declared their intentions to run for the top job. He said after considerations about where the nation is, he believes his entry into the race will give birth to a new Nigeria.
Adams Aliu Awadegboye Oshiomhole hereby declare with confidence my desire to contest for the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria on the platform of the party that we co-found, the All Progressive Congress.
The Rivers State Governor and presidential aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Nyesom Wike, said he has what it takes to govern Nigeria and take it to the promised land. He added that the situation in the country needs a courageous person to turn things around for good. Governor Wike stated this in Lokoja on Wednesday while addressing delegates of the party from the state ahead of the forthcoming presidential primary election. He said he's in the state to seek their support to fly the party's flag in the 2023 presidential election. According to him, Nigerians need a fearless and courageous person like him that can speak the truth to power without fear or favor. In the meantime, Governor Wike on Tuesday paid a visit to the mother of late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who died in office 12 years ago on May 5, 2010, to seek her blessings ahead of the PDP primaries. Chairman Nigeria Governors Forum and Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi says tackling the current security challenges in the country will require aggressive recruitment of security personnel. Governor Fayemi, who spoke on the sidelines of his declaration to run for the presidency of the country, is advocating decentralization of the nation's power grid and enhanced efficiency. The report.
He is taking the intellectual approach to announce his intention to contest for the highest office in the land. As he unveils what he calls my agenda for Nigeria, there are obviously questions to answer. For instance, what are the impediments in addressing the nation's contemporary challenges? Fayemi says recruitment bottlenecks in the security sector.
This country was able to recruit in an emergency manner. In 1967, it moved from an army of 10,000 to 250,000 within a space of 1 year. Today, there are all sorts of bureaucratic impediments that are not allowing us to expand the men and women that we have in the armed forces and in the police. And we need to do that quickly. If we're not able to do that in the shortest possible time by clearing away those bureaucratic impediments, we need to bring on board our reserve elements who are still on duty.
How do you address the twin challenges of epileptic power supply and rising unemployment in the country? The Ekiti State Governor advocates for the decentralization of the power grid to replace the existing grid, which he says has broken, while creating an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive.
It's time to do away with a national grid. We now need to begin to look seriously in the direction of zonal or regional grids, or even micro and mini grids outside of the mainstream official national energy grid. It's the only way to solve this problem and focus our energy on renewable energy as well.
The formal declaration of the Ekiti State Governor adds to the long list of aspirants from the Southwest, eyeing the number 1 seat. It is a big worry for political leaders in the zone who are now struggling to correct the situation. Shapir Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
At least 60,000 people have been killed in Nigeria's 18 states, northern states, in the last 10 years due to insecurity. The Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, which made this known, said, according to a report, 14,000 people lost their lives between 2011 and 2021 in the northwestern states. The report.
The report, which also measured conflict-related casualties in the North Central State and the Federal Capital Territory, reveals that around 11,000 people were killed in the period under review, while about 35,000 people were killed in Northeastern State. Tracing similar development in casualties across other geopolitical zones, CDD in the report disclosed that similar development continued to fuel the ugly situation, especially lack of education, absence of state actors, economy war, security forces, cultism, land use dispute, ethnicity, religion, failure of justice system, overstressed security forces, among others. In the south-south region of the country, sea piracy and robbery remains key concerns as illegal bunkering, political violence, hazardous farmers clashes, oil spill, cultism, marginalization, human trafficking, ritual killing are said to be fueling violence and insecurity. According to the report, the growing insecurity and violence in the country were also fueled by shifting livelihood, circulation of small arms and light weapons, corruption and inadequate access to justice, geographical and regional dynamics, as well as ideological grievances. The report went on to say increasing prevalence of misinformation and disinformation across traditional and new media spheres have deepened public anxiety and intergroup tension about the mounting insecurity in the country and the state responses to it. The report reveals that the development equally traverses the southwestern state, especially cases of hazardous farmers clashes and political issues, leading to kidnapping, rape, arson, as well as innate communal unrest and division. To address the prevailing situation, CDD said local and national stakeholders will need to be willing to try new approaches to curtail insecurity, stressing that the kinetic approach favored by the federal government may remain a mirage.
The Islamic State of West Africa province on Tuesday killed 3 people in Kautikari ward of Chibok local government area. The attack, according to a Chibok resident, started around 6 p.m. and left the villagers fleeing for safety into the nearby Sambisa forest where the terrorists camped. The attack occurred almost the same time as the UN Secretary General was visiting Borno State for an on-the-spot assessment of the level of damage done by Boko Haram insurgency in Borno State. The UN chief, who visited Gubio camp immediately after when they arrived in Maiduguri, told Governor Zulum that he was happy with the condition he met the IDPs and pledged to ensure the safe return of IDPs to their ancestral homes in line with the state government's resettlement plan. Niger State Commissioner for Local Government and Internal Security, Emmanuel Umar, has confirmed the death of no fewer than 10 bandits in Uregi village in Rafi local government area of the state on Monday. 7 motorcycles belonging to the bandits, including arms, were also recovered. The commissioner, in a statement in Minna, the state capital, also said 14 kidnapped victims were rescued during the operation by the Joint Security Task Force in the area. He disclosed that the bandits wanted to disrupt the peaceful Eid al-Fitr celebration when the Joint Task Force launched an onslaught on Kawo and Uregi villages. In the meantime, some local hunters employed by the Shiroro Local Government Council of Niger State to complement efforts of security agents in the area in the ongoing war against gunmen have been arrested for allegedly stealing some cows which were recovered from bandits. The police command in Imo State says 2 of the gunmen who attacked its personnel at a checkpoint in Oguta on Tuesday have been killed. The unidentified gunmen were said to have attacked policemen at Okpoefi Junction, Agwa Ejemekuru Road in Oguta local government area of the state. The gunmen were said to have cut off a police manhood after killing him. The police officer, identified as Ukam Efut, is said to be serving at Agwa Police Divisional Headquarters, Agwa Oguta local government area, when he met his death while on patrol with 2 of his colleagues. While Ukam was shot dead and his male organ said to have been cut off by his killers, one of the other 2 officers sustained wounds on his face. Police Public Relations Officer CSP Mike Abatam confirmed the incident on Wednesday. The Railway Police Command of the Nigeria Police Force has arrested 14 suspects, among them a serving army sergeant, in connection with the vandalization of railways in different parts of the country. Recovered from the suspects were 3 trucks loaded with railway sleepers, steel, and clips. Reports say the arrests and recoveries were made in the month of April 2022. The arrests involving a serving Army Sergeant Sirajo Suleiman, who works with the Nigerian Army Central Ammunition Department, Kaduna, was made on April 27, 2022 by the Kafanchan Divisional Headquarters of the command alongside 6 other suspects. They were alleged to have been loading multiple rail sheets of steel into 2 trucks, one of which belongs to Dangote Cement Company, in a bush near Kamoru Station, Kachia local government area of the state, when policemen swooped on them. Students of the University of Benin, Edo State, on Wednesday protested against the ongoing strike action of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. On Tuesday, students equally protested around the University of Ibadan, Oyo State, calling for immediate reopening of the public universities across Nigeria. In Uniben, the students who protested around the university's gate and its environs had declared what they called Uni Street, meaning that Nigerian students will now be taking lectures on the streets, with some of them acting as lecturers, all in a bid to protest school closure. The strike action of the lecturers, which is entering its 4th month, has left public universities shut since its inception, following the lecturers' demands, which the federal government had allegedly not met. ASU had accused the government of poor commitment to the payment of earned academic allowance, the continued use of the integrated personnel payroll information system, and refusal to adopt the university's transparency and accountability solution, among others.
Yes, if we cannot learn at the 4 walls of the university, we can learn here. This is Ring Road, the art of Benin. We are trying to learn at the 4 walls of the university. This and yet, that is fact. So it's either they send us to classroom or we occupy the streets. And we want to help our parents and beg them also. If they don't complete this strike, there is no election. No education, no election. streets. They should choose one.
You're watching Trust News Hour. Coming up after the break. Kano residents witness Durbar Festival. Do stay with us.
The rains are here again. Floods are ravaging. Why? As residents of FCT, we have made some wrong choices. Dumping refuse in water channels, building on waterways, damaging water lines. The consequences of flooding can be devastating. Lives are lost, properties are damaged, people are displaced, farmlands are destroyed. Don't make the wrong choices. Don't build on floodplains. Don't dump refuse in waterways. Don't damage water lines. Clear all refuse in waterways around your premises. Together, we can safeguard lives and property. Do the right thing now. For emergencies, please call 112 or 122. This message is from the FCT Emergency Management Agency, FEMA.
Welcome back. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take another look at our top stories. We told you that President Muhammadu Buhari receives UN Secretary General at State House, and Uniben students protest over ASU strike. Bauchi State residents described this year's Eid al-Fitr Salah celebration as a memorable one, despite the economic realities and the security challenges faced by Nigerians. Residents made this known when they visited Cinderella Mini Park, Bauchi, to celebrate Salah festival with their children and well-wishers. Adamu Imam completes the story.
The number of people in this park is an indication of peace and tranquility. People in high spirits celebrating despite insecurity and economic hardship. Some residents who visited the children's park in continuation of Salah festivities said they are grateful to be able to come out and enjoy with families and friends safely.
We celebrate Salah. It is well. Alhamdulillah. Thank Almighty God. We came to this place for an occasion, witness to celebrate with my family. God brought us to this garden.
These are things that all children are after, and their wish always to see that their parents are taking them to this type of place to at least get some joy, which they can hardly get it while they are at home.
They said it has been long since they are out in public gathering without fear of being attacked, adding that though things are hard, especially foodstuff, it is important to look at the brighter side of life, according to Sadiqa Haruna.
Celebrating with our children, we had a wonderful time looking at the horses and the Daba. We are here with the children and have fun here. I look together, what I'm doing, just have fun.
They pray for peace and unity in the country while calling on the Bauchi state government to continue to heighten security issues and also provide jobs for the teeming youth in the state. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
Thousands of Kano residents have turned out to witness the annual Durbar Festival, which is part of activities marking Eid al-Fitr celebrations in the state. Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin said the Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero district heads and other traditional title holders led the procession held at the Emir's Palace in Kofar Kudu in Kano. The report.
Kano is again on a fast lane. It is celebration time, and the people of Kano know exactly how to celebrate. This year's Durbar in Kano is unique for several reasons. First, the month of Ramadan has been peaceful owing to improved security situation in the state. Then Kano has a new emir leading the Durbar for the third time since his coronation. Therefore, they stormed the palace while the emir rode out his troops to the streets of Kano. It is Hawan Daushe Durbar, a world-class traditional entertainment, relentless in its motion, splendid in its color, breathtaking horsemanship, and royal in its presentation.
It was great. Yeah, very, very memorable. Something unique to Nigeria I think more people should see and be aware of.
This is my first ever visit to Nigeria, and it's been one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. And I think it's fabulous that there's such strong tradition and heritage and culture in Nigeria.
Hawan Daushe holds a day after Salah. It is always time-bound, beginning at sunset, ending at 6 p.m. In Hawan Daushe, the emir and his train traditionally pay homage to the King Mother not far from the palace. Thereafter, the emir marched to the palace to receive homage from his royal train and from the people of Kano. During this occasion, firing of Dane guns by the emir's royal guards is among the special homage for the emir, led by the prominent royal servant known as Maitapari, the king's chief gunman. Thousands of Kano residents, including the state governor Abdullahi Ganduje, top government officials and foreign diplomats, attended the Durbar.
Well, I think the Kano Durbar is a fantastic spectacle. So much color, so much pomp, so much pageantry. And you know, Kano is always number one. Kano, Durbar, Birni, Megala, the golden good Tutsi.
We've seen it all. It's fantastic. And that is why we created Additional Emirate Council. What you saw today, this evening, took place all over the other 4 Emirate councils. So it is fantastic. It's very interesting.
Hawan Daushe is one segment of the several Durbars in Kano. As the celebration continues, so the Durbar. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
With the ease of the COVID-19 lockdown, residents in Kefi, Nasarawa State have come out en masse to celebrate their age-long tradition called Hawan Daushe. Emir of Kefi, Dr. Shehu Chindo Yamusa III, emphasized the need to take agriculture, education, politics and security serious to improve their well-being. Gaza Yakubu was there for Trust TV and now reports.
This is how it feels celebrating Durbar Festival in Kefi without restriction. Fun, passion, merriment, a showcase of historical embroidered attires, you just name it. With the COVID-19 restriction last year, the street for Durbar festivity was deserted and the people isolated.
And we feel bad. We feel, at least we feel it very bad because we used to do it every year as a culture. Because this is our culture. So we feel bad because we didn't do it last year.
People are disturbed.
actually, we are not happy, but it has come as an incident, so that's not what we can do. But actually, people are not happy but last time.
Durbar Festival is an age-long tradition in northern Nigeria. Watching the people of Kefi reviving these culture is a scene to behold. As the emir went round town with his district head to greet the residents and finally retire back to his palace, spectators struggled to catch a glimpse. The celebration of these festivities is usually done the second day of Salah, and it is called Hawan-Daushi. In his speech this year, the emir emphasized the need for the people of Kefi to be serious with agriculture, security, and education.
Please, let's not forget about agriculture. There's lack of food in the north, so it is necessary to go to the farm. Let us be serious with education, security, and politics. It is getting late already, and I wish everybody well.
Salah Durbar in Kefi used to be a 7-day celebration, but for security reasons it is cut to 3 days. The next event will be held at the Emir's Palace, where local wrestling will be showcased.
How does it feel catching a glimpse of Salah festivity in Kefi? Well, if you ask me, I feel much alive watching their age-long traditions. But the event still continues. Gaza Yakubu, Trust TV News, Kefi.
Still in the spirit of Eid al-Fitr celebration, Muslims and non-Muslims were hosted to a Salah feast tagged Eid Milad. Nafisa Bello, who witnessed the event, reports that the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jama'ah in Benin City says it is a way of promoting interfaith harmony and peaceful coexistence. Her report.
At the Salah feast tagged Eid Milad, held at the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat Mosque in Benin City, Muslims and non-Muslims came together in the spirit of Eid al-Fitr celebration. Addressing the guests, Alhaji Sule Egwa said the event is in line with Prophet Muhammad's practice on how to relate with your neighbors, Muslims or non-Muslims.
I'm grateful for our neighbors here because they have shown us compassion, understanding, and collaboration. And we're giving our work that way. They came particularly to assist us. This is the condition of it. If every Nigerian community can live like this, both the Christians, the Muslims.
Speaking with newsmen on the essence of the get-together, the Imam Maulvi Shahid Ahmad said it is of accommodating people of different faith in the community in the name of Eid al-Fitr, while one of the guests, Apostle Ike Bitani Osas, simply described it as an amazing way of promoting peaceful coexistence.
The reason we are here so that we should, establish the peace and harmony within our neighbor. And this is the fundamental doctrine which has been given to us by the Holy Founder of Islam, that whenever you are, trying to celebrate something, you should involve your neighbors. That is the way to establish the peace within the community. So on this ground, we have arranged this gathering so that our neighbors should come. We should, they sit together. We should know each other, and in future, whenever it is need to assist one another, so we can, they assist them.
Because coming together like this is to show oneness, to show love. Because according to their doctrine, it preaches about peace. Peace within your home, peace within your environment. And coming here to give, as part of our community, they've been able to reawaken the respect and love we have for their religion.
It is expected that with such hosting, the harmonious relationship between Muslims and non-Muslim residents in the area will be further strengthened.
A domestic violence and sexual offences court sitting in Ikeja, Lagos State on Wednesday sentenced a pastor, Michael Olise, to life imprisonment for defiling his friend's 12-year-old twin daughters. Justice Abiola Sholadoye, in her judgment, held that the testimony of the defendant portrayed him as a serial rapist who took turns to defile the survivors. She held that the prosecution convincingly proved the charges of defilement against the convict beyond any reasonable doubt. She said the sentences should run concurrently, and his name entered in the sex offenders register of the Lagos State government. Justice Sholadoyi also berated parents of the survivors for sending them to stay with the convict. The defendant was said to have defiled the survivors after their father entrusted them in his care and traveled to the village for a burial ceremony. We will be back after the break. Welcome back. There was palpable shock and an uneasy calm among residents in the bustling and thriving neighborhood of Ibutemeta following the building collapse that left 10 people dead. Sympathizers still crowded the area and speaking in harsh tones about the incident that has left many devastated. Reports say 5 persons are still receiving treatment at various hospitals for injuries sustained in the collapse. Scavengers thronged the site of the collapsed building to pick up metals and other scraps from the scene. It is still unclear when the debris will be cleared. The House of Representatives reconvened for a one-day sitting on Wednesday to pass 5 important bills. 4 of the bills relate to terrorism, money laundering, and proceeds from crimes. President Muhammadu Buhari had, in separate letters to the 2 chambers of the National Assembly, requested the passage of the bills, explaining that the deficiencies in the country's anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism regime bill made it imperative for the passage of the bills. He warned that the non-passage of the bills posed a risk that might lead to the eventual blacklisting of Nigeria by the Financial Action Task Force, FATF. Addressing journalists after the session, spokesman of the House, Benjamin Kalu, noted that the law needed a revisit as it will create a special control unit in the EFCC, which is now to be better equipped in handling issues relating to money laundering. The House later adjourned to May 24. Leadership of the House of Representatives says it will intervene in the arrest and arraignment of a member from Rivers State, Farah Dagogo. The decision of the House is sequel to a motion raised by Honorable Chisom Dike calling for the urgent release of the lawmaker, Farah Dagogo, who is also a governorship aspirant under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, was arrested on the orders of the Rivers State Governor, Nyesom Wike, on the 28th of April and arraigned before a magistrate's court in Port Harcourt on the 29th of April. Speaker of the House, Femi Gbajabiamila, expressed concern that the lawmaker is still in police custody despite the charge against him being bailable. He, however, insisted that the House will not take a position but rely on the law to take its course. Member representing Boni Degema Federal Constituency and governorship aspirant of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Rivers State, Dr. Farah Dagogo, has been rushed to the hospital. SA Media to the lawmaker, Ibrahim Lawal, in a statement said Dagogo was rushed to the hospital after he complained of stomach and chest complications. Dagogo was whisked away last week Thursday by security operatives at the venue of the governorship screening when he appeared after being declared wanted by the Rivers State government. He was arraigned before a magistrate's court last Friday and has been in police detention following the court order. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back. The World Bank says Nigeria's efforts at reducing poverty might hit the rocks if certain economic issues are not addressed. These include low human capital, labor market weaknesses, and exposure to shocks. This is contained in the new World Bank report titled A Better Future for All Nigerians, Nigerian Poverty Assessment 2022. The report represents the culmination of the World Bank's engagement on poverty and inequality, relevant data and analytics in Nigeria in the past 2 years. The report draws its conclusion from the 2018-19 Nigerian Living Standards Survey, NLSS, which provided Nigeria's first official poverty numbers in almost a decade, as well as the Nigeria COVID-19 National Longitudinal Phone Survey, NLPS. The Nigerian Communications Commission has confirmed issuance of the final letters of award of the 5th generation RF5G spectrum licenses to MTN and Mafab Communications. The two licensees emerged winners of the 3.5 gigahertz spectrum auction conducted by the Commission in December last year and are now expected to roll out 5G services from the 24th of August this year. The 5G network, when deployed, is expected to usher in accelerated growth and smart living in the country. The technology is also expected to facilitate substantial network improvements, including higher connection speed, mobility and capacity, as well as low latency capabilities. Central Bank of Nigeria has approved the sum of 2 billion naira to the Imo State government for the empowerment of artisans in the state. Commissioner for Labor and Productivity, Ford Ozumba, disclosed this to newsmen on Tuesday in Owerri while announcing the Imo 2022 Entrepreneurial Product Expo in partnership with the CBN. The commissioner said the Imo State government approached CBN and was considered qualified for the loan. He explained that artisans have an association working on the first Imo State Innovation and Entrepreneurial Exhibition, which is expected to commence on the 10th of May 2022 in Owerri. Let's now join Chamun Dabeng for more business report.
Telecommunications businesses have proposed to the Nigerian Communications Commission a 40% rise in the cost of calls, SMS, and data as a result of the rising cost of doing business in the country. According to their suggestion, the call price floor will rise from 6 naira 4 kobo to 8 naira 95 kobo, while the SMS price cap will rise from 4 naira to 5 naira 61 kobo. This was revealed in a letter titled Impact of Economic and Security Issues on the Telecommunications Sector. The letter was sent to the NTC by telecoms businesses operating under the aegis of the Association of Licensed Telecommunication Operators of Nigeria, ALTON. The telco stated in the letter that the cost of doing business in the country had increased by 40% and that the telecommunications industry had been financially impacted by the country's economic recession in 2020, as well as the impact of the ongoing Ukraine-Russia crisis, which resulted in a 35% increase in operation expenses due to an increase in energy costs. Alton went on to say that the recent imposition of a 5% excise charge on telecom services had added to the industry's burden of many taxes and levies. The Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) has announced that 5G service deployment will begin in August. MTN and Mafab Communications, the winners of the 3.5 GHz spectrum auction held in December last year, received final letters of grant of 5G spectrum licenses from the NCC. The licensees are to begin the implementation of 5G services on August 24, 2022. According to a statement signed by the Commission's Director of Public Affairs, NCC's Executive Vice Chairman, Professor Umar Garba Dambata, confirmed the issue of letters of licensing of awards to the Board of Commissioners during the board's special meeting in April. The implementation of the 5G network, according to the announcement, would lead Nigeria into a more strong fourth industrial revolution and a more digested Nigerian economy, among other countries. On Wednesday, crude oil prices increased 4% after the European Union announced intentions to phase out Russian oil imports as part of penalties for Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Brent crude futures had risen by $3.99 or 3.8% to $108.96 per barrel. West Texas Intermediate oil futures increased $4.05 or 4% to $106.46 a barrel. The news came only days after the European Union proposed banning all Russian oil imports by the end of the year. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, declared on Wednesday that European Union countries will cease purchasing Russian oil over the next 6 months. OPEC Plus and its partners have agreed to meet on Thursday to discuss monthly output until June 2022. That's all for business news. I am Chamun Dabeng.
And now news away from Nigeria. The European Union has proposed its toughest measures yet against Russia, including a total ban on oil imports and sanctions on war crimes suspects. European Union President Ursula von der Leyen said the package was aimed at maximizing pressure on Russia while minimizing damage to Europe. Russian crude oil will be phased out within 6 months, she said. Military officers involved in suspected war crimes in Bucha and Mariupol would also face new sanctions. The EU has been focusing for weeks on how to wean itself off Russian oil and gas. It has already pledged to reduce gas imports by 2/3 by the end of 2022 and now plans to phase out crude oil over 6 months and refined products by the end of 2022.
Today, we will propose to ban all Russian oil from Europe. This will be a complete import ban on all Russian oil, seaborne and pipeline, crude and refined.
The shirt Diego Maradona wore when he scored the Hand of God goal and much vaunted goal of the century for Argentina against England at the 1986 World Cup has sold for a record £7.1 million. It is the highest ever price ever paid for a piece of sports memorabilia. Former England midfielder Steve Hodge put it up for auction 36 years after he swapped it with Maradona following the famous quarterfinal in Mexico. After Maradona died in November 2020, Hodge said the shirt was not for sale. Let's now join Adeniyi Ajishafe for more on sports.
The opening game will be between Bayelsa Queens and Rivers Angels. Nasarawa Amazon will face Nigeria Tells in second game, while third game will be between Delta Queens and Edo Queens. Meanwhile, winner of the competition will go home with 5 million naira and represent Nigeria in the second edition of Women's CAF Champions League. Second place team will earn 3 million, while 2 million will go to third place team. Super 6 Championship will run from May 16th to 22nd at Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin City, Edo State. That's Sport News. I am Adeniyi Ajishafe.
With that report, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. You can follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ayinde Shuaga, thanking you for watching.